Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. You're watching The Watchlist, and we're glad that you found time to tune in. My name is Rolly Kipkemoi, an investment analyst at Nabo Capital, and I'm joined by my colleague.
My name is Isaac Kamau, an investment associate at Nabo Capital. There have been quite a few developments this past week. The major one, I think that I can think of first, is Ghana's inflation numbers came out this week, 9.4% for the month of July. For June it was 9.1%, so there was a bit of an uptick. I think this is it came as a bit of a bit off trend, because we've seen it really come down in the past few months,
From
for the last 1 year.
When was it highest?
It was probably highest about 2 years ago. It was in the 20s.
20%.
It's been trending downwards pretty steadily since then.
Roughly around the same time where the position where Egypt was, right?
Yes. So it's been trending downwards. There was this upward shock last month, primarily because the regulator increased prices for utilities, power and water. So this, of course, led to an increase in the prices of final commodities. I think thinking about Ghana generally, this year has sort of not been the best for them, primarily just because of the reduction in business confidence, which has really reduced the level of investment that's been taking place in that economy.
Yeah, and the general, you mentioned investor confidence has also been translated in the equities market. We see the equities market not doing so well, both year to date, and certainly the last 12 months has been quite brutal for the market. 9% year to date, and about 20% for the last 12 months. Of course, there's some counters where you can solely put some of that return at, but what you mentioned has generally been translated in the equities market. Then I think we can move on to our next story, where I think the rest of the story is China. Well, China contributing about 75% or 50% of our news today. So Fortune 500 companies, the list came out at least sometime, I think in July, August.
The global list.
The global list, Fortune 500 global list, and we're seeing China dominating that list. About 129 companies in total. Second is the United States with about 121 companies, and the US has the number of companies that belong to the US have dropped from 126 to now 121, and China has increased. Was it from around that number to 129, and another 120. From another thing to note is that almost 80% of the Chinese companies being recognized in this list are associated with the government, or rather they are state-owned enterprises.
Government sector is quite big there. And I think it's part of their heritage as a former, they are still communist. As a communist country, the government retains a lot of control over the economy in that particular country. I think this is the first time they're actually at the top of that list. It's always been the US at the top. They've been second for quite some time. Then Germany, France, third and fourth, with substantially fewer companies. I think about 52 for Japan, 31 for France.
But not.
So the two sort of big players are US and China. So I think it's useful for the governments of these countries to also consider, what is the trend that China is taking? Do we want to partner with them? What's the potential here, as well as thinking about the potential risks and that are associated with that as well.
So I agree. Policymakers should definitely, when they're making the decisions, they have to really consider who would you rather do business with? Would you rather do business with someone whose growth is increasing, or would you rather do business with someone whose business position is going down? And just to bring another highlight of the how China is quite a force to reckon with in the global economic market right now is that they are the second largest holder of U.S. Treasuries, at about over $1 trillion. They were recently came second to Japan after holding that position for quite some time. So Japan is now on top of the list by about 1.122 trillion, followed by China at 1.112 trillion dollars. And now that we're seeing Kenya's oil is going to a Chinese company.
Yes. So Kenya is set to send its first export shipment of oil, about 200,000 barrels. It's to a Chinese company, Chinechem. It's actually registered in the US, but it's Chinese, and it's also a state-owned company as well.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, to a state-owned Chinese company. So, in terms of oil in the Kenyan economy, the deposits which have been sort of proven, about 560 million barrels, which sounds like a lot, but put it in a bit of context. Nigeria has about 37 billion barrels in reserves. Angola has 8, and look at the largest country in terms of oil production potential. Venezuela has 300 billion. So you can see that gap. Just terms of the size. So it's definitely useful for the Kenyan economy, but it's not an absolute game changer such that we'd expect oil to be the dominant sector in Kenya in the next few years. But it's certainly a positive. It's certainly positive from the perspective that it would help Kenya reduce its dependence on imported oil, at least from a net basis. Because something important to keep in mind is the fact that the oil is not going to be refined here, because the quantities are too small for it to make commercial sense to refine here and then export. Unless they build a refinery which will also refine oil to be consumed in the Kenyan market.
Maybe then.
Like the current crude oil imports, then that's potentially something that could work. But I don't think that's being considered at the moment. I mean, it's definitely something positive for the Kenyan economy. Especially thinking about the potential for future discoveries as well.
We also saw sort of some news in some newspaper, Business Daily, last week, Kenya, where Bangi Inc. has the intention to cross-list on the NSE exchange. Well, I don't know what we can say to that, but in as much as yes, their board approved the cross-listing, I think until we see them filing for listing with the CMA and the NSE, then I think maybe we should just hands off on that story.
I think we can wait for news flow on that particular one. That particular company. Try and see if they're actually serious about listing this particular market. It's also interesting to think about how regulators will treat it, because they might be able to fulfill the listing requirements, but they might questions might be asked, by the public and by
the government in terms of its,
and the government, which might prevent it from being
actually
listed. But let's see. Let's wait for them to make the filing, and we can see how that will proceed.
But still, it's still a very small company. Market cap
is about $2,000.
$2,000. That's about 3 million shillings. It
would be the smallest company on the exchange if it's listed.
And it's actually, if you look at which how can I say market it is listed in
market segment.
In market segment, it's the lowest in the US market. So thank you. I think that's all for today. Thank you once again for joining us, and we're glad that you found time. Please catch us in our next episode. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.